Ashes, Great Britain lead the French by 30 points to nil. Radlinski, Briers, Chris Joint with 2 tries, Wellens and Andrew Farrell has kicked 5 goals from 5. Pretty much a perfect first 40 from Great Britain. And look at the total metres they have gained. And average 63 metres every set of 6. Fantastic play from Great Britain, albeit against fairly weak opposition. But they are all here. British supporters have travelled across the channel to see this dress rehearsal for the Ashes series. And the crowd, must say, an encouraging crowd in the south of France. They have been royally entertained by the British team. And the French, Steve, will be hoping for, well, a massive comeback from their men in this second 40.
Well, Dumas, the coach, would have been disappointed with their one-on-one tackling early in the game. But as that first half progressed, they did tighten up and they did get their sliding defence sorted out. As I say, it was woeful in the opening few minutes, and Great Britain took them to the cleaners, and rightly so.
Interesting, Steve, just to interrupt, sorry, that Andrew Farrell is not on the field at the start of this second half. He has been replaced, obviously a legacy of the grand final when he had the dead leg. But he is sitting on the sideline at the start of this second half, and I've no doubt that Bill Arthur will be checking on his condition, but it will surely be merely precaution, bearing in mind he had that injury at Old Trafford just a fortnight ago, and he was fairly doubtful from all accounts right the way through this week. Well, he was determined to play.
Yeah, he was eager to lead out the side, and I think that's a wise decision by David Waite. Already knows the quality and the skills that he can display, Andy Farrell, so there's no point. Scoreline at 30 points to nil. Safety first is the key.
And France looking to score early in this second half. They really have to. And Filou was dragged to the floor. Vincent Wolf is the dummy half, and there is Freyssinou under pressure from Connolly, gets the kick in, and Wellens has dropped back. He's now operating at full back by the looks of things at the start of this second half, or at least he was then, because Radlinski had motored upfield.
Well, that was much better play by the French side. In fact, it was David Collado offloaded. That's the first forward to offload for the French side during this game. So obviously Gilles Dumas, the coach, has had plenty to say at half-time.
Forshaw got that ball away to David Hodgson. They're 10 metres inside their own half, Great Britain. This is Joint, and Joint's a mile forward to Deakin. It's a knock-on anyway. Let's get down to Bill on the sideline. News of Andy Farrell, news of what was said in the dressing rooms at half-time.
Eddie, the news of Andy Farrell is that David Waite has decided to take him off just as a precaution. Again, just like Paul Johnson in the first half. Farrell, of course, suffered that knock in the grand final, started tonight's game with the position that Great Britain are in now. David Waite doesn't need to take any risks, so he's taken Andy Farrell off just to give that injury more rest. Great Britain in very comfortable position, and the aim for David Waite given to his team is to nil the opposition. He wants a disciplined performance from his side, and he would like to see them not concede any points at all. That's the mission he set out for his side. Gilles Dumas, the French coach, has told his players really that it's damage limitation now. There's a big crowd here in Agen for this game, and so far France haven't come up with the goods, but they've really got to play for their pride in this second half to try and breach this British defence and really redeem themselves in this second 40 minutes.
Offside against Great Britain, and the crowd, well, they applaud the decision by Robert Connolly. A little bit of irony there, I think, from them. And Freyssinou not interested in kicking for goal. First penalty against Great Britain. No, 4-1 the penalties are. I've misread that completely. France have had 4 and Great Britain have had 1. This is a drive-in now from Filou. They're 10 metres away from the posts. Wolf gets it away to Devechi. Good ball and good hit by Paul King.
He picked him out and King just dipped the shoulder. The little halfback felt it.
Chances here, and Britain all hands to the pumps defensively. Now, can the French get over for the try? Devechi spins the ball wide to Freyssinou. It comes then this way to the second row, Filou. And Connolly is there, and also the Deacon.
Wait, Foster.
Freycinet with a kick to the in-goal area. And it's hanging there, and that's come up for France. They're over. The substitute, I think, Romain Saur, has come up with a try. He has. Just what they wanted. The French supporters on their feet. Gilles Dumas and his right-hand man, Ivan Gresek. But Romain Saur, the back row forward or prop in the side, beaten by Warrington for Villeneuve in the Challenge Cup quarter-final this year, has come up with a try and his third in international football for his country.
Good opportunity, and it was a high kick, Julien Guérin, and he took it well. Not so sure that someone took out Chris Redlinski. Either way, Romain Saur has lifted the spirits of this crowd and the French side. I have a suspicion that they took him out. His opposite number, Renaud Guigues, went straight into Redlinski, but let's take nothing away from, and Gilles Dumas would have enjoyed that. Not much expression on the face, but at least they're on the scoreboard. And that will have displeased David Waite. We just heard Bill Arthur explain that he wanted to make sure that it was a complete whitewash. That's gone by the side now. And a good opportunity. It was a good high kick, good chase. Not many people, though, protecting the fullback, Chris Redlinski. They'll have to work hard on that, Great Britain. That is one of the ploys that the Australians utilise on a regular basis, is the bomb.
Well, Freycinet with the conversion. Took his time, plunked it over the top of the woodwork. First blood, second half to the French. 30 points to 6.
Well, a lot more enterprising play there by the French, but I do have a suspicion that the fullback went right into the body of Redlinski. He really had no chance there. Let's not take anything away from the substitute, Romain Saur. He will remember that for quite some time. He's a rugged character, but it is the green light that they've been looking for, and Great Britain going for the short one.
Well plucked out of the air, but though by Sylvain Hules. French have it back from the kickoff, and this is Vincent Wolf. Tackle low down by Kevin Sinfield. Freycinet tips the ball inside to Filou, and they've suddenly found their voices, the French crowd. They're over halfway, and here they come with their substitute Eric Anselme, and they really do get behind their team whenever they do something positive. This is Carrasco.
Well, that's a word, Eddie. They're a lot more positive, and the band, they have gone up a gear.
Yes, they're in tune, and the French are as well. Freycinet with the kick downfield, and Briers is content just to help that ball over the dead ball line.
Just a touch too long there by the standoff, but slowly but surely he's come into the action. And that's about the first time in this game that we've seen the French get across the advantage line with their forwards. So it is a different side that's trotted out for this second stanza.
Here is Anderson for Great Britain. They will want to quell this enthusiasm of the French if they can, and quickly too. And Fielden drives it further forward.
Well, to be fair, the defence has tightened up a lot since they brought on the big fella David Collado. And the French are going low onto the legs.
Here's Anderson again. They've got to go low on this fella. That's the last one. Here is Deacon. Deacon attacking the line, gives it to Sinfield, who then finds Joint, and brilliantly from Joint to Deacon. And Paul Deacon gets over for a fabulous try. And how about that pass from Chris Joint? Terrific stuff from the St Helens skipper. And it was a walk-in the end for Deacon. Good move from Great Britain.
Positive stuff by the British boys. Took it on the last and they ran. And good support play, but as Eddie has already mentioned, the slipped inside pass from the second row, Chris Joint, Well, this is outstanding. Zip. Oh, superb. Sucked in Eric Anselm, and the little halfback scampers away right underneath the sticks. Went for the power play. They held off the French, anticipating the kick. It was not forthcoming, but the 4 points are, and this is TRY.
David Waite in his first international. He guided England to a 42-33 defeat of the Welsh at Wrexham in July. A Welsh team that this fellow starred in, and he has now taken over the goal-kicking responsibility from Andrew Farrell, who's on the sideline. No strangers with this, of course. Does the job effectively for Warrington. 36-6. A little mini crisis maybe overcome by Great Britain start of this second half.
Well, there you can see all the French backs to the opposition, and when it's on the last, they just hoped rather than anticipated that the kick was going to come. There was no one at home, not even a straight line in the defence, and that really was poor play after an encouraging start by the French side. Well, a smile on the coach Gilles Dumas has been wiped away very rapidly.
10 minutes, second half gone. Try a piece, second half. And here's Briers. And here come Great Britain again in the shape of Stuart Fielden.
Well, David Waite would have been quite happy with that, the way that Deacon made sure that he didn't opt for the kick. They've got to keep the ball in hand as much of the second half, get some sort of team spirit going, some team reaction.
Quality football, quality victory, that's what he wants, as Sean McRae says. Oh, he's played the ball, and he's got away with it, has Geig, the fullback, and it wasn't in touch either.
That's good play by Geig. Okay, he came up with a mistake. That's good defence. That is swarming defence. That's what David Waite wants. A little bit of difference in size from Sean McRae and Sean Edwards.
Yes. France in possession then. Good tackle on Filou.
Well, I think his foot was over the whitewash there. Maybe the French touch judge just unsighted a little bit.
Kick downfield from Freycinet again, and collected on the bounce by Paul Wellens, who returns the ball but has to take the tackle from Gagliazzo. And here's Hodgson.
Well, at least the French are going low into the tackle, and you can see that they're moving through. Briers just trying to offload. Well picked up by the try scorer, Romain Saw. But they played the first knock on. It'll be a French head and feet, little doubt about it. Briers lost control.
Well, he says that there's a French knock on there, so 2 offences, but they go back to the first, this forward pass.
Well, that's a knock on from Briers, no doubt about it. The second one coming from Romain Saw. Robert Connolly getting it right.
One of the 3 nominees for the referee of the year this year is Bob Connolly. Russell Smith, Stuart Cummings, the others. Russell Smith getting the award, and Stuart Cummings, of course, then getting the grand final. Refereeing in fairly decent shape at the moment in Great Britain. Of course, there will be a moan, I'm sure, back home from the supporters when I say things like that, but 3 top officials we've got.
I'm not doubting you.
They're just staying very quiet for once.
No, and to be fair, I think Robert Connolly has come on a bundle this year. He's certainly built in confidence.
That was good play from Wellens. He got the ball back over the try line, and brave play from the St Helens fullback, or winger as he's playing today for his country.
And good work by the hooker, Vincent Wolfe, there. Well, it is a different side, apart from that opportunity where Deacon went over for the try, where I highlighted the fact that the French turning their backs onto the British attack can't afford to do that, but it is a far better performance so far in the second half by the French.
Bearing in mind what's to come, Steve-O, what would you say would be an acceptable winning margin for Great Britain tonight to send a little message to the Southern Hemisphere?
65-10.
Okay. We'll see. Sinfield keeps the ball alive to Connolly. He hacks the ball forward. That flicked off the fingertips of Keeg. And he played risky business. That's good stuff. The ball played out wide by Guérin. And this is Dulac.
Well, the crowd don't like it. I'll tell you what, the French player's not too happy about it. Though he's got a smile all over his face, hasn't he? Well, Arnaud Dulac produced some pretty good touches of play in the first half. And Paul King is getting the rounds of the kitchens here. I mean, what is French for? Kitchen sink.
Well, you should know that, being a master of the language, and Paul King is immediately withdrawn by David Waite.
Well, that's a wise move too. Really, we can do without that. Although perhaps in 2 weeks' time, we'll be praising.
Yeah, it was a glance more than a real high shot, wasn't it?
No real malicious act behind it. Try telling that to Arnaud Dulac, who was, to be fair, has been their best player so far as a centre.
And the crowd played its part in having Mr. King withdrawn. Swarming British defence now. Terry O'Connor on for Paul King.
Well, I must say it's been a French trait, hasn't it, over the years? They're not too keen on kings here.
Oh, we're getting a history lesson now, are we? Vincent Wolf and Devechi wide to Freysnu, and further wide again. Good hands, a little bit of Gallic flair on show here.
And fair play to them. They have not thrown the towel in, which they could very well have done. They knew they were looking down the barrel of a pretty high score, but they're trying their best.
Good movement. This is Geeg, the full-back.
And a double switch, but O'Connor read it well.
Devechi, left-footed down the line, races on. Well swept there by Briers.
And again, we see Briers, when he is in a defensive role, doing the a la Sean Long, going out onto the wing.
Deacon, Sinfield, Connolly, oh, mistake! Freysnu has swooped, and Freysnu gets the try. A little bit over elaborate by Great Britain in their own quarter. The ball just bounced clear, and Freysnu was onto it in a flash. Laurent Freysnu, his 12th cap for France. That's his 5th international try. What a difference a half-time talk makes.
What a difference when one side starts making mistakes like the French did early. It was never on the offload there from Sinfield, and Freysnu quick to pick up the football. Never on the pass to Gary Connolly, was far too shallow. And fair credit to it, first time couldn't get it down, second time he did. That really had a red cross on it, but there was no one there to drive the ambulance. But this guy came over for the 4-pointer. Well, David Waite's dream of keeping it 0 went a while ago when Saw pinched the ball from the high kick. And now the standoff, Freysnu, who's going to attempt the conversion. He won't be too happy, David Waite.
Well, we saw that look once or twice, didn't we, when England played Wales at Wrexham earlier this year. But he was supremely confident when I spoke to him before the match, I must say. Confident in these players, in his backroom staff, and hoping to head off to the warm weather training next week in Spain, in sunny Spain, with a good win under his belt. It's going to be a win, I think, but if Freysnu kicks this, you know, if you take away the horror start they made after 10 minutes, just wipe that off your memory bank, it's actually 12 apiece if he kicks this. Freysnu adds the extras. 36 points to 12. The Stade Almandi in Agen, and the French have something to smile about at last. A spirited display, and Gilles Dumas has delivered the half-time talk that was necessary.
Well, I've heard of handicap races with horses, and now you want to introduce handicap rugby league games.
No, I'm just saying if you take away the first 10 minutes...
And it's 12 all, yeah,
it's
lovely.
12 all.
Yeah, great.
In other words, we're giving France credit for gathering their thoughts. Nearly an hour gone here at the Stade Armandie. Sean McRae, not Sean Edwards, Sean McRae. What do you think of that? 12 all. The French have dug in deep here and they've responded.
A slightly different accent, I think, Eddie, to Sean Edwards. So I've been really happy with the way that France have been a lot more positive with their play. They've showed a lot more cohesion. They've been prepared to go forward in numbers and put some pressure on Great Britain's defence. Also defensively, they've had more numbers in the tackle, and that's really paid dividends for them. Interesting to note that both tries have come directly from Great Britain turnovers, and that'll be something that'll be worrying Coach Waite. And I think they'll be looking to actually complete a few more sets of 6 themselves now and make sure they can get some more points on the scoreboard. But it's become a lot more competitive game, and one that I'm sure that the Great Britain players will benefit from.
Well, it's a tough workout, and that's what they needed. And there's certainly a lot more enthusiasm on show from the men in the blue jerseys of France. And here is O'Connor. When you talk about enthusiasm, this fellow's got it in abundance.
And that was a good run from the prop forward. That's what they need. To have the ability to get back to basic rugby league football. You've got to go through your hard work. Can't play the fancy stuff all the time.
High kick from Deacon on the last. The chase is on. Wellens is after it. Oh, it's dropped by the Frenchman. He knocked it on. There's going to be more pressure on the French line here. Renaud Guigues.
Under a lot of pressure from Paul Wellens there.
And Wellens contesting the ball.
Well, he was spinning round and trying to search for the ball. That's a pretty smart tactic as well by Paul Wellens. If you're spinning round and your momentum pushes back into the full back, it's pretty difficult for the referee to see whether that was deliberate. But I've little doubt in my mind that Paul Wellens knew exactly what he was doing.
Well, this is a glorious opportunity for Great Britain to get more points on the board.
Oh,
not like that.
That was dodgy. It went back.
Got away with it, and Wellens did well.
Well, it's a little bit of a wake-up call for the British boys.
Here they come with Anderson, just drives it in where all the heavy traffic is. Texido stood his ground. Forshaw, his Bradford teammate at dummy half. It goes wide to Wellens. And was that knocked on by France? No.
Well, it certainly looked that way for mine, but not seen that way by the official. Oh, that's good defence. Leading the way, Kevin Sinfield. Made a pretty good job of the fact that he's playing an unaccustomed role as a hooker. But he's impressed me also as Paul Anderson. His workload tonight has been outstanding.
Well, 6, 7 and 9 are positions that David Waite says are up for grabs for the Ashes series. I think it's doubtful whether Kieran Cunningham will play in the series, which is unfortunate to say the least, but they have high hopes that Newton will be fit, Terry Newton of Wigan. But he has come into this match apparently with a complete blank piece of paper, David Waite, and every one of these players on trial for the Ashes tonight.
How was that for confidence there? Lee Briers threw a 40-metre pass right across the face of his own sticks. Got away with it.
Joint. Impressive in the opening 10 minutes when Great Britain put the cleaners through this French defence. And here comes O'Connor. He's lost the ball.
Just a little mistake there. I was just about to praise the fact that Great Britain turned defence into attack. They've easily got over the advantage line, then went over the halfway line there, which would have put them into a good position to utilise a kick and chase. But just a little mistake by Terry O'Connor, who looked at the referee Robert Connolly as if to say, I think there might be a little French hand in there. Not so, Mary Whistleblower says.
and rightly, I think, on the evidence of that replay. Well, Great Britain, of course, out there at the moment without their captain, but it looks like Andrew Farrell is about to be reintroduced here.
Well, I think David Waite wants to get Farrell out there to see whether he can just steady the ship a little bit and control things out there.
36-12. A little different from the half-time score of 30 points to 0. Deveci to Fresnu. That was Cologny. And Great Britain hunting the ball carrier. Very on that occasion was Fresnu.
Very rare we've seen a second phase of attack from the French side. But put that down mainly to the fact that Great Britain are moving up very quickly indeed. Not the best pass there though, but well taken.
Deveci with the kick and a chase for Dulac, but well read by Wellens, and a good chase from Adel Filou.
Good position. Oh well. Stuart Fielden, will he get a tackle for that? I think he will. Stuart Fielden smile all over his face. Not so sure Redlinski felt that way.
Ball is slipped to Mike Forshaw. Barry McDermott is back. Clear. Richard Horne, scampering run. Great run from Horne.
Great stuff from the youngster. He's just bided his time. He's done everything right out there. Didn't want to make a mistake. Now the confidence is coming. Well, that's a
wasted kick, although it's very deep in goal here.
It's going to hang in.
Oh, I said wasted, and look what Great Britain have made of it. Great chase by Sinfield. He was trapped in goal, was Michael van Schnick. It looked as though it was gone for all money, that, didn't it? But a deep in goal area here.
Yeah, just put the backward spin on it, and it certainly worked. Van Schnick thought it was going to go over, and that's great work from Kevin Sinfield. Not a bad kick either from Lee Briers.
In the end.
He's got the quality of being able to put that back spin on. A lot of the kickers these days utilise that. But this is a point now where David...
Oh, what a break from O'Connor! Sinfield inside him, and he went for glory himself. Richard Horne, the dummy half. Deacon. Wide it goes to Andrew Farrell. Farrell trying to run over the top of the defender.
Oh, he should be penalised for that. Never played it right.
And he is.
Got to regain his feet before he can place the ball down. Failed to do that. And you can see that the Great Britain captain...
It could have gone either way, to be fair. They were pushing it.
I know, but you've got to complete the tackle. You've got to regain your feet against the rules and regulations. Relief for the French. But I was just about to make the point, this is at a time now where Great Britain have to start bossing the game, showing their authority, and I think that's the reason why Waite has brought out Andy Farrell.
Well, you would expect their superior fitness to start to become evident now. Although, of course, we are, I was going to say midway, not quite midway, we're into the French season over here. These players are certainly not ring rusty, there's no doubt about that. But Great Britain, they should have the superior fitness, and in the last 10 minutes they should really close this game down. But will they? 12 and a half to go.
Certainly a lot more purpose from the French side. They were disorganised in that first half, but they appear now to be getting into some sort of routine. And for the first time, the two halfbacks, Fresenius and Deveci, sorting themselves out. That's not a bad kick either.
Good kick from Deveci. The chase isn't bad, it's enthusiastic. Dulac was there, but Wellens was the spare man. A good run from Wellens. Of course, 6 or 7 games they are into the French season. A lot of these French internationals, Steve, will have to back up for their clubs over this weekend. So it will be a big ask for them. Britain will have a fortnight's rest before the Ashes.
Well, you've got to give the credit to this French side. It looked as though they were going to just capitulate, especially you talk about the fitness range, and there we see another good run from the youngster Richard Horne.
Here's Terry O'Connor. This is Barry McDermott. Great friends off the field and comrades in arms tonight. Horn, Deacon, and he finds Farrell, and there's a hole for Farrell, and that's flicked and knocked.
There'll be play on.
It is back to 0 in the tackle count. This is Hodgson. He's away from Cornu, but not from the second man in. Second man in was Freycinet, who in the second half has been all over this field. O'Connor gets the ball away. Horn halted. It goes back. McDermott. It flicked off the fingertips but went backwards.
Just a little knock on.
Oh, well, he said we went back at first.
Well, I think the second one just a touch forward. Well, we saw again Richard Horn making the half break. That's a little knock on. Went forward, yeah. The support play has not been as good in the second half as we saw by the British boys in that first.
Well, he's played in one Ashes Test series as Barry McDermott, 1994 against Australia for Great Britain. He will have high hopes that he'll be playing in another in a fortnight's time.
Okay, well checked.
Now, Steve-O, 10 minutes to go. As we say, Great Britain hoping here to ram home their advantage. Progress report on the British challenge that they face in a fortnight's time. Have you seen enough to give us hope?
I think we've got a lot of work to do, to be fair. There's certain passages of play which have been outstanding. But, well, the unity and the lack of support play will have to improve. You don't get many opportunities against the Australians, that is for sure. The one thing perhaps we can look for is that the first 4 tries were scored by the British deep down in their own quarter. Now, if you look for over the years, oh, he's got away!
Yes, Hodgson missed the tackle on Hules. The kick over the top. Well, he will read those all day, will Paul Wellens.
Well, it surprised me why Hules opted for the kick. Thought it perhaps would be better served trying to step back in the inside of the play. He did have support on the inside.
As Captain Devechi was hunting on the inside, but Wellens was the right man in the right place.
Just getting back to that point against the Australians, Eddie, is that when you go through the years when we have been successful against the Aussies, is that when we attack from deep within our own half, if you're going to catch the Aussies asleep, it's normally when they're in their own quarter.
Well, let's hope they're snoozing for 3 tests, the first of which will hit your screens, the battle for the Ashes on November the 11th, Great Britain against Australia. And just another reminder about that information line, 0113-2329-111. First test is Sunday, November the 11th. Any other information you may require, Rugby Football League, open for business on Monday morning.
Inventive play there by Breers, just didn't get the bounce. He was awarded a knock-on in the end, so more defensive play from Great Britain at the moment. So I'm sure David Waite would have been happy with some of the defensive qualities. Since he's come off the bench, Stuart Fielden certainly has put himself about, so has Sinfield and Paul Anderson. It's been a pretty solid performance by the forwards.
This is the 60th international between these two. The first for David Waite. There he is, a 1973 Kangaroo tourist himself, formerly with Newcastle Knights St George and the merged club St George Illawarra, and 2 losing grand finals with the Dragons in 1996 and 1999. He has the pedigree to produce winning sides, and let's hope for a couple of weeks in November he does that for the Great Britain national team. Controversial appointment when he got the job, but if we win the Ashes back for the first time since 1970, Steve-O, who cares where David Waite comes from?
Yeah, come from the moon or Mars. It's been that long, hasn't it? Test series, 1970. Did win the World Cup in 72, of course, but since then it's been all Australia. They've won everything. Well, it's been a better performance by the French side.
Just there's the band who've been performing well all night. Just another point about David Waite. He was actually in that 1973 Kangaroo side that took the Ashes away from these shores. all those years ago, and wouldn't it be ironic if the wheel turned full circle this year and he brought them home?
Well, let's hope so, but he knows he's still got a lot of work to do. I think his biggest problem, apart from the hooker, which we've mulled over for quite some time, is that the lack of coordination between the two halfbacks, Lee Briers and Paul Deacon.
Good hands.
I don't think that it has not ignited enough for me tonight.
Come on, yes, you played that.
And it is so important that we get that trio. Andy Farrell at loose forward, of course, the two halfbacks. So it's a problem they've got to sort out. And that certainly came off a French player. This will be a head and feed.
Yes, he tried the charge down and it came off him and went over the line, so he played at the ball. Head and feed to Great Britain coming up here. Just from a British point of view, they really need to top that 40 mark. You would have been happy with 60 odd to 10. Well, might not get that now, but Farrell looking to get over the line.
Interesting to see there that Sinfield, he was playing in the standoff role, so David Waite yet again bringing the changes. He knows that he's got to get a good combination in the halfback sorted out
well,
before the take on the Aussies.
We've seen Paul Sculthorpe from time to time coming on with the water. There is Paul King, who comes up with the try that takes Great Britain over 40 or 240 with the kick to come. And Paul King with the latest Great Britain try. Another man on his debut, getting over the line for his first of what we hope will be many tries in international football.
Well, he looks a lot more comfortable now that he's gone into the hooking role. You could see there, that's what he has done all season. Runs from the dummy half, through the dummy. That is a good effort. To me, he looked lost in the first half, playing out of position at second row. And I think that he's proved with that run there to the coach, David Waite, that please, 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 if you're going to select me, then hooker is my position. And he's proved it there. Maybe he's convinced. We'll have to wait and see.
Another successful kick from Andy Farrell, 42-12. Looks a little better now, doesn't it?
Good work, though, from Paul King, who's had a tremendous season.
He has.
A rejuvenated whole side this year.
Impressive, wasn't he, for England against Wales when he came on in July as a substitute. He's been one of the finds of the year for Sean McRae.
And as I mentioned, I think that he'd be a lot happier with the fact he wasn't too concerned when he went a little bit high and lazy on Arnaud Dulac about 10 minutes earlier, but nothing better than scoring a try with the Great Britain jumper on your back. It's a proud moment for him.
And a great turnaround in that young man's fortunes as well, because he actually admitted in the national press this week that it was only a discussion with Sean McRae at the start of this year that turned his life and his season around in many ways, and he really did dig in deep, and he got stuck into the job of being a top-flight professional rugby league player, and he's done a wonderful job this year for Hull.
Well, he's an honest worker. He works overtime, and that's why he'll feel more comfortable in that position.
Yeah,
all of a sudden, since he's gone into that position, they've started to become a little bit brighter of Great Britain.
Closing moments of this test match. First test between Great Britain and France for 7 years, and Great Britain going to win it handsomely. Maybe not as handsomely as some would have hoped, but a big enough winning margin and a good enough workout. I think there's no doubt about that for the Ashes to come in a couple of weeks' time. Deacon with the hoisted kick across field, looking for David Hodgson, and it's gathered in second attempt by the winger Van Schnick. Actually, it was Freisnus who tied it up.
Well, surely De Vecchi was in an offside position. The winger certainly touched it.
Here now is Cologny. The last thing Britain need is to concede a try. That was a big hit by Farrell on Sylvain Houles. Wolf Comes down this way, and a dab down the wing for Hules to chase, but the ball will beat everybody. So Great Britain will enter the last minute of this test match in Agen with ball in hand.
A few nice touches from Sylvain Hules. Hasn't had many opportunities throughout this game, and mainly due to the fact that the French were coming up with far too many errors.
Highly encouraging crowd here tonight, though, Steve-O. And here goes the band again. They've enjoyed themselves.
I think it's been tremendous because there was, well, a lot of problems in this area. The rugby union, they didn't want them to play here. And it has been a good turnout.
The band have royally entertained them.
That'll be a knock-on early in the tackle count by Gary Connolly. He's claiming that there were fingers in there. But let's pay a lot of credit to this French side. They came out in the second half and certainly looked as though there were a fingertip in there.
Well, Great Britain will not finish with ball in hand. That will be France's pleasure. Now then, can Great Britain keep them out? The kick and chase. And Van Schnick is after it, but Hodgson, ball was still rolling, shuttle the ball dead, tap on the 20.
That should do it.
Just a few seconds remaining. And away they go. And Great Britain in with their captain Farrell. On it goes to Connolly, the hack ahead. Oh, Sinfield was taken out in back play by Collado. The referee didn't spot it. Well, the French timekeepers and the British timekeeper.
Well, I think they're listening to the band. Oh, they've found it.
They found the hooter. It's a 42-12 victory for Great Britain here in the south of France. A warm-up for the Australia series that is imminent now. An impressive opening 10 minutes from Great Britain. They went into a 24 points to nil lead after those 10 minutes. Then the French gradually got themselves sorted. It was 2 tries apiece in the second half in the end. And lots, I think, for David Waite to think about as he prepares for the huge battle that is to come. Great Britain 42, France 12. Gilles Dumas, he will be much happier, I think, with the second half than he was with the first.